One thing I realized is people really love to overcomplicate marketing funnels. You go on Google and you search it up, and tell me why I'm looking at shapes, diagrams, and unnecessary language that feels like I'm revising for an exam instead of actually, trying to grow what I'm building. And the funny thing is, none of it actually helps a beginner. It doesn't tell you what to actually do, it just gives you words. So let's forget all of that for a second and talk about what a funnel actually is in a way that, feels like normal humans talking. Because once you understand this in a simple way, I'm about to explain it, everything else makes more sense. Your content, your audience, your offer, all of it. So, marketing in 2026 is different to even 2 or 3 years ago. People scroll fast, their tolerance for nonsense is basically zero, and trust is harder to earn. Everyone has a million ads, a million promises, a million, I made this amount of money in this certain amount of days videos. So, people really aren't impressed by noise anymore. They're impressed by clarity. They pay attention to people they trust, not to people who shout the loudest. And when you understand that shift, you start realizing the funnel isn't this complicated pipeline anymore. It's really just one simple question. Do I trust this person enough to let them help me with this problem? Everything you build sits on top of that. So let me explain a funnel the way it actually happens in real life, not the messy corporate version. So imagine someone comes across your content for the first time. Maybe it's a short, maybe it's a clip, or maybe it's just something you tweeted. They don't care about you yet, they just noticed you. That's the very beginning of the funnel. Someone becoming aware that you exist. Now, if you say something that makes sense to them, they stay for another video. Or, they scroll through your profile, they might check a post or your pin, but they're not sold or anything. They're just trying to understand what you're about. That's interest forming. Then at some point, and this is the part most people never talk about, they have a moment where something clicks. Maybe you explain a problem they've been dealing with in a way that suddenly feels clear. Maybe they saw a result you got for someone. Maybe they saw a breakdown you made that actually made them think, all right, this guy actually knows what he's talking about. That moment is where trust starts forming. And once trust is there, they start imagining how working with you would actually help them. They're connecting your solution to their problem. Now that's desire, not hype, not pressure, just a natural moment where they realize this would make my life easier. And only after going through all of that do they actually decide to take on action, whether that's DMing you, clicking your link, filling a form, or buying something from you, whatever the next step is. People take action only once trust and relevance exist, never before that. That right there is a marketing funnel. You have your awareness to their interest, to you getting their trust, to them having that desire, and them making that action. You've been through this journey 1,000 times without actually ever calling it a funnel. Now, the modern funnel is even simpler. The way I explain it to founders is you have your content, you build the proof, you give them access, and then that access will lead to your offer. Content is how people discover you and get a feel for the way you think. Most people decide whether they like you or not purely through your content before they ever speak to you. It's your first impression every time. Proof is what makes them believe you. And this doesn't need to be crazy screenshots or dramatic testimonials. It can be your own journey, a behind the scenes moment, something you built, something you fixed, or a small result you helped someone get. Proof is the thing that lowers people's doubt, and doubt is the number one killer of conversations. Then we move on to access, which is honestly the part most people mess up. If you give too many ways for someone to contact you, they won't even bother. When someone is interested, their attention is fragile. And if you say something like, DM me, or click the link, or email me, or fill this form, they're gone. It's too much effort. But if you give them one simple way to keep them closer, and I mean one, the friction disappears. For example, at the end of my videos, I'll just say, DM me the word start, and I'll send you the link. One path, one action, no thinking required. And because it's simple, people actually do it. Then you have your offer, and this is just the thing that solves the problems they now trust you with. And again, it doesn't need to be 10 different things or a massive list of features. A good 2026 offer is clean, focused, and clearly solves a problem your viewer already knows they have. Not complicated, not overwhelming, just clear. So that's the structure. And the easiest way to really understand it is with the coffee shop example. So imagine you're walking down the street and you smell coffee. That's content pulling your attention for the first time. You look through the window or check the menu to see what they offer. That's interest. You see people inside enjoying their drinks. Maybe the place looks good. That's proof. And then you think to yourself, you know what? I think, I can go for a good coffee right now. And that, my friend, is desire. Then you walk in and order. And guess what that is? Action. You've gone through a full funnel without even realizing. And that's how simple this entire thing is when you stop overcomplicating it. Now, let's talk about why most funnels fail. It's because people try to sell way too early before any trust is built, or they make their access points so confusing that even interested people don't take action, or their content doesn't attract the right people in the first place. So the funnel can't really fix that. And sometimes people rely too heavily on automation, sometimes forgetting that, human connection is actually what converts at the end of the day. It's never the tech that fails, it's the clarity. So if you're building something right now, a business, a brand, a coaching offer, your funnel should really look like this. You create content that genuinely helps people understand the problem they're stuck on. Then you show proof in a natural way that doesn't feel forced or exaggerated. Then you give people one simple way to step closer to you. And you have that one clear offer that actually solves something properly. You don't need to look fancy, and you definitely don't need to overcomplicate the whole situation. You just need clarity. And when someone finally sees that clarity and builds that trust with you, they naturally move forward because it finally makes sense for them. A funnel isn't some complicated diagram or a software stack or a 12-step blueprint. It's just the journey someone goes through from not knowing you to trusting you to feeling confident enough to say, yeah, I want this. And if you build that journey with honesty, with intention, and with one clear next step, you'll never struggle to get clients ever again. Now, if you want me to break down exactly how to build this step by step, the content, the proof, the offer, make sure you guys stay tuned and I'll be posting that soon. See you guys next time.